Rob Anderson, Clean Power Wash, Salisbury, Maryland. One thing I get asked about a lot is pricing, especially when you're new, starting out. And a couple things. I'm very much a fan of, learning trial by error, learning through trial and error. As you go through pricing out jobs and things, certainly you don't want to win just because you're the cheapest. Because being cheapest doesn't usually make you a whole lot of money. Now, as far as the, how much do I charge? Do I charge per hour, or this or that? The answer, one, you don't charge per hour for something unless it's an open-ended, disaster cleanup or something that is really and truly, there's no way to know how long it's going to take. And you'll very rarely find customers that are willing to go with paying you an hourly rate for whatever cleanup, because again, unless it's something that it's just there's an unknown amount, you're the only option, and you've got specifically the equipment that is only going to work for them. So that's not going to apply to the vast majority of people probably watching this video. So I mean, as far as pricing jobs and stuff, I mean, obviously it's going to be based off the size of whatever structure you're cleaning, what surfaces you're cleaning, how dirty they are, how easy is the access to those locations. Is it a second or third story deck? Are we talking just a single story walk around rancher? Are there weird dormers projecting out of different spots or difficult angles? All that stuff plays into the pricing for it, or the PITA factor, pain in the ass. And again, if you're dealing with other stains, if it's not just mildew or mold, you can hear my little ones in the back. Seth, can you say hi? No, he wants to go home. We're going to Lowe's. But yeah, I mean, pricing wise though, I mean, for me, for single houses, and again, don't crucify me on here, guys. For those of you that are charging more, that's fine. I try and start at basically $175 is kind of my unofficial minimum for house washing. We rarely sell a house wash for that little. That's going to, again, be just a very simple, single-story, rectangle house. That's a small front stoop and maybe a little bit of a sidewalk would be for $175. Everything else... Let's go. Let's see. Seth, can you say hi? No. No? No? Okay. But yeah, so I mean, that's going to start you at $175. Two-story houses, I'm going to say start at $225. They really start closer to $275, and can go up to, $800-900 depending on how big they are. And when I give you that pricing, that's really, for me with a house wash, that covers siding, sidewalk, front steps. If there's a rear porch, if there's a deck, sheds, garages, any of that other stuff, ups the price. Certainly if we have to bring water, which is very, very rare, that would also increase the pricing. Because again, anything, if it's going to cost me more money, it's going to cost that customer more money. As far as hourly rates and stuff, if you look at all the Facebook groups and everything, people talk about making $200 an hour, $250 an hour, this and that. Obviously, when you're starting out, I think a way to tell if you're kind of on the right path would be to, price out the job, and especially when you have lower quality or less powerful equipment, if you do that house and it took you 5 hours and you charge $250, that's not bad. I mean, that's getting you in the right position, you know, so if you're charging $250 for that and it's taking 5 hours, yeah, you should charge a little bit more, but especially if you're early on, that's still pretty good money. And as you get better equipment, you know, you upgrade to a 5.5 or an 8 gallon a minute machine, you know, that $250 house that cost, you know, it took you 5 hours when you're, you know, spraying with, you know, high pressure or whatever else. You know, nowadays you might do that in an hour, 2 hours, you know, so then you've giving yourself a raise. The size of the house hasn't changed at all. You're able to clean it more efficiently, so now you can go make more money. So by no means take this to say that I'm recommending to charge $50 an hour. That's not going to work. But what you should be doing is making at least 50, if not more, per hour when you're working. Again, you get better, you get faster, you know, more clean. You know, with the mixes that we use right now between the sodium hypochlorite, surfactant, and degreaser, it gets the house cleaner than it used to, you know, a couple years back when we were just using a soap. So I can get the job done faster, I can charge more, and I do want to make good money on it. You know, again, you're not going to go out and sell $100 house washes. It doesn't help you, it doesn't help the customer, and it certainly doesn't help the industry when you're selling $100 house washes. So that gives you just a basic idea. If you got other pricing questions, let me know. Again, it's not rocket science. Go ahead, go underbid a job. Spend 5 hours and get paid $150. You're not going to want to do that. So next time you learn, you say, okay, well, this size house took me 5-6 hours or whatever. Maybe I should charge $300 for this size house, or $350 or $400 or whatever. You know, and again, each market's going to be different, but also just the notion that we can only support $150 house washes is total crap. Every market, you know, Florida, even in Florida, you know, you're going to have certainly lower prices because there's so much competition and the costs are less, but you can still get good pricing no matter where you're at. So it's about you creating that value. Have a great day.